Black Art Perspective. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Black Art Perspective. Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah, yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Black Art Perspective. Well, hello and good afternoon to everyone. It's me, Felicia Lockhart, and I'm so very happy to have each and every one of you here a part of our program today. Today we're asking the question, for better or for worse? It's the first in three, as you'll see. If you look at the upcoming live streams, it'll show you that there are a few videos that are in pattern of one another, so they follow succinctly behind one another. So today we're looking at, do we get to walk away when it's the worse and not the better? What does for better or worse mean? And the question is, how did we get there? How did two people who started out loving one another and caring for each other, boring their friends unbelievably, talking to them constantly about that extra special someone, how did we get to the point where now we just can't stand each other? Or, like the old song, "You Lost That Loving Feeling," it's just one person who doesn't want to be around, or one person who notices, well, that they're not the cat's pajamas anymore. That's the question. How did we arrive to that place? I'd like to take a quick roll call here, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here. Amy Duran, hello. Deb Woods, how are you? I'm glad that you're only listening while driving and not watching. Sharon Marie, hello. How are you, lovely lady? So a lot of people may ask that question. How did I get here? I used to think he was the best thing since sliced bread, and all of my friends said I was driving them crazy talking about him. Well, the one question that always comes up is, how did that happen? And the other person will respond with, well, we just grew apart. We just grew apart. I see that we have two people here in the actual stream based on our count here, the view count. And so I want to thank you for being here. Now I see there are three. If you would not mind, please go on ahead and hit the like button if you feel like what you're about to hear you just might like. So the first thing everybody says is, well, we just grew apart. How did you grow apart? The for better or the for worse portion just lets us know that we're supposed to stick it out. But right now, I think that everybody is in a position where they feel like it's popcorn love, or they just want to hurry up and get to the good part, and they believe that it's going to stay that way. Some of us have even gotten to the point where, well, maybe we think our clock is running out and we just go ahead and marry the first person that's around us. Hello, Robert Ingram. One more here. So it looks like there's just two of us, and the purpose for me making comments of the amount of people is because of the fact that what's going on now is our numbers, they're having a bit of trouble pulling up the correct numbers for the channel. So while there may be 5 people listening and only 1 or 2 in the chat, they will put a 2 to let me think that there are only 2, while there may be 5 or 6 or even more. And so we are audibly challenging that so that people know, or that the system knows, that there's a bit of a problem or a miscount, right? That there's a miscount. And so we do want to, encourage you guys when you are here to put the like button. And if you can follow me with this one, maybe check back later to make sure your like is still there. because we've mentioned this before, and it seems like when we mention it, somehow, some way, it gets addressed and it gets corrected, right? It'll get addressed and then it'll get corrected. And I really don't even like to have these types of conversations. I don't have them on my Blog Talk. When I'm on Blog Talk, we're there. And the amount of people that are there that have called in, they're there. When I'm on any other, Stacy Frey, how are you? Stacy Fry. When we are in any other platform, I don't have to do that. I'm able to look and I see the counter is correct and we move forward. However, recently, that's not been the case here. There's been a lot of little mix-ups, and I think maybe YouTube is trying to fix some things. Maybe they're trying to fix some things. They're trying to perhaps work some stuff out. So I see that there are 4 here with us now that are watching. And I want to thank you, Amy Duran, Deb Woods, Sharon Marie, Robert Ingram, as well as Stacy. All right, let's get right into our lesson for today. So the people grew apart in that marriage. Let's just give the scenario. Husband and wife meet each other, and then all of a sudden they fall in love, madly in love with one another. They bore the whole entire family with stories of how wonderful the other person is. And so they decide, let's get married. The husband will leave his mother and father's house. And KK, how are you? The mother and father will leave his family's house. The son will leave the family's house, and then he'll go ahead and get married, and he'll cleave to the wife, and she'll be happy for a moment. And then all of a sudden, you'll find that she gets a little outside job, or maybe she gets some outside interests that her quote-unquote hero is not a part of anymore. And so what ends up happening is, hello, blessings from Jamaica, Zimbabwe Traits. Thank you so very much for being with us, as well as KK. And once they begin to grow apart, there's the problem. Now let's look at it. How did the father have it originally? The father made sure that the husband and wife were together and the order of things was correct. You had the spiritual headship. The husband was subject to Yahweh Shah, and Yahweh Shah is subject to Yah. The wife would then be subject to the husband and then the children. But a lot of times we get into these marriages and we don't understand that our placement is very important. And so what ends up happening is somebody says, well, I just don't feel satisfied anymore. I just want it to be over with. He or she is not beating you. And I'm going to use the woman's side because I'm speaking from a woman's standpoint, right? He's not knocking you upside the head. He's not cheating. He's not spending all the money on lewd things. And so I'm using that as an example because we'll deal with that part of it later. But right now we're talking about the folks who outgrew one another, or at least that's what they say. So this is the situation you find yourself in. And as the man, he's standing there feeling like, what is going on? Why have I lost her? Why has she moved on in her spirit? Now she's physically here in the house, but there's something wrong because she's just not a part of this anymore. Well, the woman will genuinely forget the order of things. When you look back and you see Adam and Eve, let's just use that simplistic story. The Father created him, and from him he created her. But he, Adam, was supposed to be subject to his Elohim. And she was supposed to be subject to him, being obedient to her husband. Why? Because he was a direct mouthpiece to Yah here in this earth for her. So she got out there on her own. Normally they were walking around together and they were all together all the time. But then that one time where you see her by herself is when the story really gets good, right? She's there and she's at a tree, and all of a sudden, what begins to beguile her, which is a term for sexual seduction. If you take that word beguile in that context, in that scripture, that's exactly what it means. You look that up. But he began to beguile her, and she says, well, gee whiz, this isn't so bad, and I don't understand why Adam thinks that it is. So after it was over, she went over and she says, hey, there's nothing wrong with this here. I mean, I bit it and I took partook in it, and there's nothing wrong with me. Look, I'm still standing here. Why don't you try it? So then Adam goes and he does it too because he follows her. And the reason why he follows her is because he trusts her. And I'm going somewhere with this. So once he trusts her and he follows her, then it's gloom and doom. And you possibly could imagine hearing thunderstorms and lightning and thunder clapping, all of the above, and oh boy, it's mayhem now. Well, because he's pushed into another level, something that he was not supposed to deal with. And once he does that, we already know the rest of the story. He is then separated. We understand that by then he's at the point where now he has to work to maintain. And she is definitely subject to him, because not only will she have birth with pain, physical pain, now she has to be under his rule. So let's look at today. The tree of knowledge, good and evil, is the tree that they ate from, correct? Well, let's look at the example of some of the women who decide, well, now I'm done. We've outgrown each other. Well, no, you went to college, or you got another job where it took you a little higher in education, and you left your hero. So he's not your hero anymore, because now that you've got your education, you've got knowledge, you're used to sitting in a group study. And in that group study, there's a guy who sort of thinks you're attractive, and well, whenever you give an answer, he sort of smiles or lights up. Well, you feel like your husband doesn't feel like that because he's actually not a part of this. He doesn't know anything that you're studying. As a matter of fact, he was absolutely fine with taking care of you and the household. But herein lies the term, we just outgrew one another. The information and the knowledge that she begins to take in separates her from him. And this is just one example. There could be many other things that are outside of that relationship that pulls her away. Again, we're speaking specifically about the wife because, well, I'm a female and that's the direction that I'm coming from. So now there could be many things that could separate her from him, but we're using this as the example. And once that knowledge hits her head, it puffs up. It makes her a little bit more vain. Well, he's just an idiot. He doesn't know what that means. Well, neither did she until she went to the class, but all of a sudden, because of the course, because of the class, because of how this other guy in the study group is smiling, she feels like she's just the smartest person on the earth. But how many of you know that the smarts is not in the books? The smarts is understanding your position in the game, understanding your position on the team, understanding what role you play, and watching your role and your position until fruition. Whether it be fruition of the children graduating on from college, whether it be the fruition of your husband manifesting an unbelievable business because you stayed and played your position. No matter what it is, if you are in your position and you play it well, you will reap the benefits. But for whatever reason, because she's left outside of the house, and mind you, he didn't want to hold her back, so he let her go. And now she gone. She gone. And it was because she says, I needed something to do. Now your day should start very early. I know mine did today. And as a woman, our day should start far earlier than anybody else in the household, but she needed something to do, and so he allowed it. This is where you end up with the for better or for worse piece, because now somebody is not happy. Someone is no longer satisfied because they got tickled by the world. Well, they wanted to go out and see if they could stand on their own. You see, when you step outside of the way the Father wanted you to do it, what you're really telling him is, I want to try this on my own. I want to be free of the way you've done this. I want to be free of the way that you've made me. I want to be free to be independent. I want to make my own money. So for better or for worse ends up being far worse. And in this scenario, far worse for him, far worse for the couple, far worse for her, and far worse for the family. Why? Because the strategic place that mama fits, the strategic place that mama fits on purpose is directly under the husband, but right above those babies. Therein lies the real rub. To get to the babies, they got to take mama from over them. Well, because a young tree is easier to bend than an old tree. So it's easier to take that young child now that mama's not there watching the roost and put him or her under somebody else's leadership. And it's that somebody else's leadership that's got us all messed up right now. Because at one point or another, here in America, the majority of moms, for the most part, stayed home and took care of their kids. Well, for the most part, all things being equal, she had a normal husband, and he got up and went and did what he had to do. But then somebody decided to inject the for better or worse in that household by telling her he was trampling out her light. She could not do what she wanted to do because he was holding her down. And I guarantee you, whenever you create a victim, whenever you take a scenario and take one person, just exegete that one person out and make them the victim, you've got a captive audience. And I submit that if you got a captive audience and a mom, well, her kids are all yours. That's exactly where we're headed right now, where we're far beyond. So when these things start to happen, the communication that they once had no longer existed. The happiness that they once had no longer exists. Well, how can, in this case, two walk together unless they agree? If one feels as if their knowledge and their information far exceeds the one they're with, then they are not equally yoked. For whatever the reason, however it happened, they cannot walk together anymore because one will always feel less than. And unfortunately, when certain people get information, it just blows them up. Now, the intimacy will now begin to wane because, well, he doesn't feel like it because now he is a little bit intimidated and, well, she's a little bit, busy. She's got to study. She can only come in and throw something in the washer and maybe throw something in the pot for a couple of weeks. And then after that, he's on his own. He is on his own. So for better or for worse, looks as if it is created from the inside rather than something from the outside. So the inside person steps outside and drags the outside into the house. What I want to know is, who let the dog in? How did the dog get in? How did the problem from outside get in? It is the people that we listen to. It is the family members or the programs that we're watching. However it injects itself, it's in the house. And unless we as women right now who are listening to me stop it, pull it out, throw it away, you're going to lose the good thing you got at the house. You're going to lose the good thing you got at the house. So let's put it in right now and today. Let's put it right where the rubber meets the road. It's time to stroke his ego a little bit. It's time to stop listening to the outside forces and voices. It's time to be satisfied with what you have. It's time to build up your household, because a foolish woman will pluck it down with her own hands, but a wise one will build it up. And in this case, the way you build your house back is by building up your husband, by building up your children, by spending and committing more time to intercession for your family, so that better or worse will not hit your family and stay. Mind you, what did I just say? So that better or worse will not hit your family and stay. Better and worse can come and go, but it ain't got to live there. And that's the most important thing to understand. It does not have to live there unless you don't want to be there yourself. And I guarantee you that if you do not get rid of the outside sources and the outside forces, it will definitely take root, hug on, and be there for the duration. Now, how do we handle the opposition when it comes in our direction? Well, the way that we have to handle that is we have to allow the Father through the Word to teach us and guide us. So that means that we don't have any time to listen to the sister, the auntie, the grandmama, or even the mama who don't have no man and who's not submitted or subjected to the Word. That's a major thing. But then there'll be somebody that'll say, I am the spiritual head of my house. I am the spiritual head of my house. And that's how we grew apart. He never took the lead. He never wanted to pray for our family. He never wanted to come to church if you're still a churchgoer. He never wanted to go to church with me. And that's when some of our separation came, because I didn't know how to just listen to the program and get the word from it. I had to listen to the program and then audibly compare my husband to the preacher that was talking, not knowing that the preacher that was talking had a bevy of issues, some that would separate him if he didn't get it together before the even. But now I am the spiritual head, and I just feel like we're just not equally yoked anymore. I gotta go. I can't take it. Now again, this is not the cat that's beating her upside the head. That's for another show, another time. This is not for the cat that is gambling up all the money and going around with lewd things. We just said another show, another time. And this is not for the man who has 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 women. Again, another show, another time. This is for the person that says, we just outgrew each other. See, it's not just academia that the woman can get drawn away. Again, we're dealing with the woman's side. It's also where the woman feels like because now she's gotten into the word, she's arrived. And the man is not into all of that. How do you maintain your household when he's not into it? Well, if you're a wise woman, again, that same example from just a few minutes ago, you're going to understand that your husband is sanctified, separated and protected because of you. The non-believing spouse is sanctified by the believing spouse. Why? Because if he, in this case, has decided to dwell and to stay with you, then he is covered. So it's up to you to understand that because he's a little quieter and all he does is work his behind off and bring that money home and pay those bills and make sure you got lights, gas, water, trash get picked up once a week. You got groceries in the house. Do not push him away. You're creating your own for worse. You are creating your own for worse, just as Miss Academia did. Okay? In the academia, she created her worse. Here, when you think you're in the word, you create your worse because of the contrast and comparison that you constantly push and push and push in front of him. It is far better for you to live a separated life, a sanctified life. Love him and give him kindness and treat him with love and respect. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to be tried. I'm not saying he's not going to come in the house one day and straight up cut a fool. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, since you feel as if you've arrived spiritually, then why haven't you grown to the fact that you understand how to deal with opposition with your man? There's the problem. So I'm going to tell you a little tip. That 8 or 9-year-old son you have, imagine him in 30 years. Now, for women who have that 38-year-old child, he still has the same traits, doesn't he, as he did when he was 8 years old, right? Yeah. He still twitches his nose a certain way. He still walks on the balls of his feet if he walked on the ball of his feet. He still, kicks one sock off when he sleep. He's still the same cat. So wise woman, understand that a man just needs you to be there just like mama was there. If you're supplying the needs that he has, this cat ain't going nowhere, all things being equal. So treat him with love, keep his clothes clean. Treat him with love, keep feeding him. He ain't going with you to read and do all that other stuff. If he's not doing it, then you take all of the wisdom you're learning and you apply it to your household so that this man knows that what's at his house cannot be compared to anything else outside of the house. Why? Because a wise woman builds her house up with her hands. A foolish woman plucketh hers down. This is why. This is how You stay silent. You just let him be. It is better for you to just intercede for your household, intercede for your husband, claim the things that you want from him that are biblical, and the Father will do the rest. The Father will do the rest. You think it takes him by surprise that you are the spiritual head in the house at that point? That's how you feel? So let me tell you something. Here. Let me tell you a little something right quick. He's still the spiritual head. He is still the spiritual head. He's still the spiritual head. Yeah, but you married him. He still is to be submitted to by you, because you do everything for him as unto your Elohim. You are doing everything as unto your Elohim, as unto Yahweh. That is the point. That's my point. So if you're submitting to your husband, that's the head. That's why you submit. You're submitting to him not because of the fact that he can outread you in the Bible or can't outread you in the Bible. You're submitting to him because you understand placement and authority. And everything you do for your husband should be done as unto your Father in heaven. And there is the difference. There's the difference in the for better and for worse. Mama, you make it better. You make everything better. You make the home better. You make the children better. You make the husband better. So do you see how the lie does not jive anymore? Where they said you were being held down, you needed an education, you need your own bank account. Well, where are you going to get the money from? Now they're cajoling you to get out the house and go get another job. And this will still work. I do not give two rips about what's going on around us right now. The truth about the matter is, when we put ourselves as subjects to our Father, and we tell him we want to do things his way, earnestly, we say it. He will make a way. And when he makes that way, he's going to bring in all of the provisions. Why? He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. Everything belongs to him. So therefore I submit, Mama, get it together so that there doesn't have to be the worse. There does not have to be the worse. Not at all. It can all be good. It can all be gravy. Every inch of it can. Every inch of it can. 1 Corinthians, let's go into let's look at the word here. I think I want to check out. Oh yeah, this is a good one. I was saying 1 Corinthians, because a lot of times people feel like because she is saying, I'm the spiritual head, I'm the spiritual head, I'm the spiritual head. I've been there, said that, done that, still that. I feel like that. Sometimes I'm there. Sometimes my brain can say, oh, well, child, please. Your quiet husband will shock you. Because all that you've lived in his presence begins to come out and excrete out of his pores. You begin to find out that he knows a lot more than you think he does. You've taught him that word as you read it aloud to yourself, and he comes in the room and there you are reading it. He's hearing a lot of that stuff. The other evening, as an example, I turned the word on and I was listening when my husband came in the room, and I don't want to bother him with that because I know a lot of times he just wants to come in the room and watch his car shows. He watches a lot of the car shows where there is, oh gee whiz, it's like the car channel. Everything from, racing and it's racing. I had to cough. I'm sorry. Everything from racing and everything from fixing the car, getting up under the hood. He watches those things. And so when he's home, I understand that he doesn't want to hear everything I'm listening to. And he's away from the house more than he's at the house. So I can't just sit down for a second and let him watch what he's watching. Sure, I can. So he walked into the room and I was listening to something. And as I was listening, I noticed him sort of stand there at the television, and I noticed him sort of turn it down a little bit, the TV. And then I thought, oh, wow, that's sort of rude because he may not want to hear that right now. Well, again, I'm here more than he is, so I can always pick that up, right? All of a sudden, he says, so what were they saying? Back that up again. I want to hear that. And let me tell you, that was a good feeling. Do you know why it was a good feeling? Because it shows that you don't have to beat somebody up in the head with it. He had been listening all along. He had been listening all along, not just that particular time. Apparently, because he had been listening in the past and I didn't know it, now he wants to hear. Why did she cut that off? I was listening to that. And here I am trying to be considerate of his needs and of him and his space to turn it off when he came in. Again, it's knowing to have that wisdom. Well, you don't have to push it down his throat. He may not want to hear that all the time. But when somebody comes and says, wait a minute, what were they saying? Wait, go back again, please. Oh, well, there you go. It sounds like you guys are right back before the song. You lost that love and feelings, the Righteous Brothers, right? Sounds like it's pre-Righteous Brother. Do you know what song I'm talking about? If you guys know what song I'm talking about, I can't see you on this side because I'm not reading the chat. But if you know that song, you know what I mean. You've lost that love and feeling. Now it's gone, gone, gone. Well, hey, look like we pre-losing of the love and feeling. Looks like we back. Why? Because you guys used to have stuff in common. And the only thing that somebody should say they outgrew somebody in is their trousers or, something on top. You should never outgrow the spouse. But hey, real life tells us you do. My goal is to help you understand that as the wife, this is the only place that you should continue to grow and live your walk in his presence. That's all you've got to do, sis. Just live your walk in his presence, and he will want to know why you stay so sweet when he can be so cantankerous and so cranky and why you stay so sweet? Why do you stay kind? Why are you quiet when you could be getting at him with your loquacious self? Why are you different than other people's wives? Now I understand, he thinks to himself, why I married her. And I'm going to tell you something. All things being equal, if you're not dealing with a kook bucket, your husband ain't going nowhere. Women are the ones who file for divorce at a higher rate and greater percentages in the United States than men. So if you want your household to be happy, make it happy. It doesn't have to be for worse. It can stay for better. But it takes work to do this. It takes work to do it. Let me come back over to this other side and see who's here. All righty. Oh, hello. I see Peaches 141 is in the house. Hey, sister. Hi. How are you? It's good to see you. Okay, we did see Robert Ingram earlier. We saw Deb Woods. We saw Stacy, KK. And then we saw Zembale Retreats. Zembali Retreats. Oh, hi, Queen and family. It's so good to see you, Princess. I want you to hug the family from me. Okay? All righty. Hey, Peaches 141. Sharon Marie says, thank you for that love offering, sister. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. She takes good care of me. All of you guys do. And I appreciate those of you who have it to give. Thank you. Aloha, Suzanne. Sarah Brown says, these lessons are my favorite. I'm going to do laundry. Be quiet and listen. Okay. Amen. Know your place. It is worth it. One Peaches 41, Armand says. Watchful Alert says, hi. Hi, Watchful Alert. How are you? A virtuous woman. Yes. Remember to hit that like button, Sarah Brown says. What is equally yoked exactly? And how many areas of one's life upbringing does it include? Well, In the context of the word, it's equally yoked, understanding the truth about the Father. That's what it really is. When you're married to each other, you are equally yoked, but your understanding of the word is the same. However, by the same, I mean the basic core principles. But do you realize that you can still grow together when those basic core principles are not identical to one another? In other words, we could now be coming into the truth about the feast days. Let's use that as an example. Now, here in my family, my husband doesn't understand all of that stuff, but he says, hey, it's okay, let's do it. He's gung-ho, okay, oh, well, all right. He doesn't stop you from doing it. He doesn't stop me from doing it. He wants to know, well, you know what? You could work with that. Because, again, by living a chaste and holy lifestyle in front of him, separated lifestyle in front of him, you will definitely change the climate of the home. Why? Because he sees that you're serious and he knows that what you're doing is something that's good. One thing about somebody who, is around you, they, for the most part, they can feel when something is right. There's something innate in them that knows. Okay? And then there's something that sends up a little bit of an alert when it ain't. Monica Beach, how are you? It's so good to see you. Sorry. It's okay. I wish women of all races would learn and study these aspects of families and positions. Hallelujah. Very, very good point. Thank you for that. And it is so true. It is very true. The fact is that when we women are in alignment, the whole house goes together. I have a little note from this morning when I was taking the notes here. And there was one thing that I was saying that I thought about is how people say, well, happy wife, happy life. Well, the happiness is when the wife does what she's supposed to do, then the husband makes her happy. For the most part, again, we got to take out the kook buckets. But when you're looking at happy wife, happy life, well, if mama ain't happy, no one is. And that's the reason why she must behave in a manner in which brings glory to the Father. Because if she's not in alignment with him, there's nothing that can be done by that spouse that would make her happy. Aha. Okay? A woman is very important in the home, so never believe the narrative that's being drawn right now. Okay? Because future generations, are totally depending upon your calm, silent devotion to Yah. Your calmness, your silent devotion to him. In your early morning, in your rising, your devotion to Yah. That is what your future generations hinge upon. All right? To run the household, you have to have some type or semblance of peace within you. You have to. You've got to. It's impossible for you not to. All right? So as we seek the Father daily and become more contrite before him, our family will grow up better because of our dedication and because of our sacrifice. Now, I am not a proponent of somebody leaving their children on other people. As you know, I raise, grandchildren of my own, and I know there are people in the chat that do the same thing. So here's where I'm going. If you have younger women around you, I am going to charge the women in the chat. In love, charge those younger women to not go out if they can, and do it respectfully, and make sure that they're not having a bunch of people around them. Hello and good afternoon, Iron Crane 2003. A lot of different men, that they're not out dating a whole bunch of people. And, a lot of these things are why we are where we are, because we have gotten, as the body, in such a place where we'll always end up counseling somebody because their marriage hit the worst, or they did not get married at all. If we do not instill in these young people the importance of getting it right, which means the same thing I tell my sons. If you cannot see yourself married to that young lady, That's 36 24 36. Please do not date her. Think on that. If you cannot see yourself married to that young lady, please don't date her. Do you know why? Because you will excite something in her, and eventually you guys will be in a situation where you don't need to be. And then there's the opportunity for you to have a child out of wedlock. And because she was just quote unquote something to do, now you're gone and she's left with the child. It happens every day. So let's just suggest for the mothers out there that if you've got a couple of nieces or daughters or a young lady that is really impressed by you, that you share with her in kindness the importance of just keeping it together. Literally, you know what I mean? Just keep it together. The reason why a person can shake your hand, well, all things being equal, is because the hands are meant to be seen. They can see your ears. They can see your eyes. They can see your nose, your mouth. They can see all of that. The things that are not seen is because they are specific to one other person, and that is your spouse. That's why not everybody can see those items. So in other words, if all you know is his nickname is Pookie, and you don't know homeboy's first or middle name, or even what his last name is, that's not somebody you need to be hanging out with in an intimate fashion. Let that go. Why? Because whomever you bring in this earth realm, you are responsible for, but it is so much harder to do it just by yourself, even though you see people doing it. You know, the amazing thing about America and other parts of the world is that they want to make it such a hero story. Single mother raising the children. Single mother working 3 jobs to take care of the kids. You see those movies, right? You see the trailer. She's a single mom. She's bad. She's this, she's that. That is a hard life. That's a hard knock life. That's a hard knock life. That's not what you want. So would you please talk to them and let them know the importance and how priceless they are, how rare they are when they just keep it to themselves. Teach them how to look at a situation for more than what it's worth. Teach them about the young man who will come and start to say all kinds of things to him, to her, and making them think that he is just the best thing since sliced bread. Have them watch the one who leads with flattery. Tell them about that. Teach them about that. Okay? Because this will prevent the for better or worse scenario. Believe it or not, once you start doing this in your life, we can begin to just spread out and stop it. In kindness and in love. 1 Peaches 41 says, Lord, if only I had this knowledge when I was married, honey child. You sound just like you do right there. Honey child. But it's the truth. It is the truth. These are the things that are practical. We all start out with that same love for the most part. We all start out with that same love. We all start out thinking that he is the best thing. We all start out with that. You know what Monica Beach says? Good men are hard to come by. They're hard to find. Hold on to yours. Remember your vows, especially in the hard times. Preach it. I love it. So, yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. That's exactly what we're supposed to do. You know, we're the most interchangeable, right? Because you can prevent yourself from going from 0 to 10 in a couple of seconds. A man, not so much, because if a man's if his ego is tapped, just one iota, it's on and popping. We can sort of sit there with a passive-aggressive growl or grin on our face and allow somebody to say a couple of 2 or 3 things before we just say, okay, you know what? I'm going to go now. All right? Before we either say that or before we either just pop off. Right? Yeah, we can. We can. So it should be easy for us. It should be so easy for us to just let it go. It's not worth it for you to have a snappy comeback at everything the man you want to love you has to say. Sometimes you can hear some things and you be like, I don't believe he just said that. And when you be quiet, you give him enough time to rehear what he just said out of his mouth. And sometimes if you just sit there and maybe you be a little quiet, there have been times where I'll sit there and I'll just be quiet and my husband will go, I didn't mean that the way it came out. Let me explain. Okay, give him the opportunity to explain. For better or worse. Which is it? Which do you choose? Choose your poison. The bartender will pour either beverage, the better or the worse. But you the bartender. So what you pouring? You don't have to have that quick quip all the time. You do not. It's not necessary. It's not needed. Robert Ingram says, I'll leave you ladies to it now. There's a few more watching. 19. Be blessed and enjoy your evening. Thank you, Robert Ingram. Okay. So now where the husband comes in and where the husband may see the, sorry, but gonna disagree at Monica Beach. They're not hard to find. They're just invisible to most modern women. Aww. And you know, the irony is we're headed in that direction right now. So when you don't have the husband who's the person that's bopping you upside the head, that's out there doing all those things, let's dive in and look a little bit at his psychological standpoint, how he really is functioning. Well, he got married because he loves you, and he got married because he adores you for the most part. And when you consider that, you have to say, well, he is here, so he must be here for a reason. Yeah, he's there because he loves you. So you know he's a little more quiet. How do you deal with that? How does he perceive what you're saying? When a man hears you say, I just need to have my own money. I just have to have my own education. I just got to get my own job. Do you know what he's thinking in his heart? She's trying to leave me. And some will say he's trying to hold her back. He don't want her to do nothing. No, he's trying to hold on to what he's building. Have you ever seen a kid play marbles? They try to keep them all. You ever seen a little boy play with Hot Wheels? He wants to keep them all. Well, they're his. And he knows that if he lets one get away, it's going to take a long time to get that one back, especially if it's a collector. So it's the same thing here. I know it seems odd, but remember, I just told you that the 8 or 9-year-old is the one that you're really with. So all you got to do is be quiet and calm. Don't yell him into oblivion. Okay? Don't howl or, go after him and make him feel less than. You remember, your vocabulary, for the most part, you can tear a guy up with your words more than anything, faster than he could. So why would you want to do that to somebody you say you love? This fella is a little more quiet than you because he's looking. He's a hunter. He's looking. He's looking at what's around. He's a protector. So he's watching. He doesn't have to keep running off at the jibs. My husband notices more stuff than I do. So do you see the difference? We balance one another because our strengths are different strengths. We could live in a house for 5 years and he'll say, oh, I'm like, who is that waving? That's such and such. They live down the way. They're in that blue and gold house. And I'm like, blue and gold house? I've never even seen the car, let alone the house. He knows our surroundings. He knows whose car belongs here. He knows whose car does not belong on the street. He's very observant. Well, he probably wouldn't be as observant as he is if he was the social butterfly that I can be. Okay? I have a very shut off side. And then in certain settings, I can be very, fun, just different people that you know, but not necessarily strangers, because with them, I'm a little more like him. I'm a little more watching. But my point is, the man is not going to be like you, so don't try to make him you. He's not going to do that. He doesn't want to see you run off and go get a job and run off and have a separate bank account and run off and have all this little stuff and run off and do all these things alone. He could have stayed single for that. And he chose to marry you and you to him because you wanted to stay together. But he becomes very intimidated and very threatened when it looks like somebody's about to take all his marbles. Plain and simple. Okay? Don't nobody want to come home and have to cook for themselves because you wanted to go out and, take $2.10 home after the tax man get it. And after the fact that the wage that you're making is at such a level to where it ain't going to be nothing but $2.10 after the tax man get it. And then you got to pay gas out of that. Every now and then you're going to want to eat. When your friend girls at the job go out, you may want to go buy a burger or something. That's money. So really, by the time you bringing that home, you tearing up your house for $2.10 an hour. Plain and simple. So that is why he feels the way that he does. But because he's not an emotional being like you or I, he may not off the top say, you know what, I just love you and I feel safer with you home. I feel safer. Not, I want to make you feel safe. He may not be able to say, I feel more secure when you're at home. Why? Because the truth is, he doesn't want you roaming around out there. You're his good thing. Feel me. Feel what I'm really saying to you. He may not say that, but that's what he's thinking in his heart. And he may not even tell his homeboys this. He may not even tell Bubba and them down at the, at the mechanic shop, at the bowling. He may not tell nobody else this, but I'm telling you that he wants nobody else to have his good thing but him. He took you off the market and put you in his house with him. Or you and he chose a place to live together, but it's his too. But it's his house. He put you in the house because he didn't want you out in the streets. But here you are trying to take yourself back into the streets. Understand this. The very man you trying to run out the house because you cannot be calm because you watching something on TV or you're listening to somebody else say what they got. You're trying to run that good man out. But if you set your rump down and handled stuff the way a lady would, you would have the exact man you aspire to have because you're building up your house. If he ain't got to go cook, if he ain't got to go do the laundry, hey, listen, don't get mad at me because that's the order of things. If you get upset with what I'm saying, hey, guess what? You don't have a problem with me. You need to go see Yahweh. Go talk to your Elohim. You got an issue with him, not me. But if you did what you were supposed to do, time is what's going to build that, honey. You looking at another woman's husband not realizing that girlfriend put in time. You're wondering why your relationship can't be like theirs because girlfriend put in that work. She put in that work. You sitting up there looking from the outside looking in, attempting to vicariously live through her when you ain't willing to put in that work. You don't know he tipped out on her once, and because of the way she handled it and because of the way they worked at it, that is something of the past that they'll never see again. You have no clue. You have no clue that perhaps he had a drinking issue and she stood there with him. Okay? That she held his hand through it and that through it together. Now, 5 years later, when you come up on the scene, you have no idea what they used to have. And now you look at them as a couple that's a power couple. Oh, they own this together. They own that. How come we can't be like them? Well, because you ain't putting in that work. You got them jaws jacking a little much. Jaw jacking a bit much? I think so. You're not willing to do what girlfriend did. What am I saying? Be quiet. I said this once before. Sit down. Be humble. Be quiet. But sit down. Be humble. You cannot get what somebody else got if you ain't willing to work. You just can't. So quit comparing your husband to the husband of a woman who has put in that work. His shirts are always white and sparkly and clean. Shoes and everything is always put together. You think that's that dude. That ain't that dude. That's her. So get it together. Don't compare him. Learn to have wisdom. The things that you know he don't want to hear right now, turn it off. Why? Because as soon as he go to work, if you at the house, you can listen. As soon as he comes in, takes a shower, you feed him, do whatever you got to do to take care of him after you've ministered to him. He's going to sleep. If he's used to you sitting up an hour maybe to watch your program, you can always turn on the other program you turned off instead of the normal program. And then when that program goes off, you can go get your rump in the bed where you're supposed to be. These are the things that help you build up your house so it doesn't have to be for worse. You make it better, mama. You. So do it. Just do it. And for the single woman who's listening to me, full disclosure, this is not for you. You don't do all of that I just said for somebody who has not made you his wife. He's still shopping. He's still shopping. I'll say it again. This ain't for you. You become meek, humble, and you watch. Keep your cookie jar closed so that you can really see what's real. Wait till you get married. It'll be cookies galore. All right. Let me finish up the rest of these wonderful, wonderful messages before we close here. We are at 56 minutes and 27 seconds. Time really does go by when you're having fun. Seaglass Love, so glad to catch you live. Thank you for being here. He who finds a woman, that's right, finds a treasure. Get yourself together and be good women, and you will have to beat them off. That's right. What would you do if your child asked you to find them a maid? Woo! That's a good one. Cute, Stacy says. Iron Crane, thank you. I love it. I'll look back over the decades and thank God we have another one. That's good. Okay, you can't ask the Creator for a good and godly mate. One of his best kids, if you yourself are not in line. I learned this the hard way. Oh, girl, you preaching to the choir, girl, you preaching. Agreed, Peaches. Truth, that's the truth. Thank you. Amen. Hi, everyone. Rhonda Brown, Monica, how are you? You say everybody's saying hi to each other, and I'm trying to get caught up. Good afternoon, sisters and brothers, from Rachel. Hi, my amazing sister. I'm going down. Hello, Monica. Good to see you. Amen. From Tammy M. Hi, Tammy M. Okay. Oh, let's see here. It's a monsoon here. Had to come out of the Sukkot. Mine sort of got smashed in the rain last night. So it was pretty amazing. The rain here in Alabama was like coming down, down, down. Good news is that after the rain passes, it's going to be nice and cool. Yes. It brought that autumnal equinox right on in, right? Good afternoon at Tammy M. Okay. Good afternoon at Rhonda. Everybody's loving on each other. You know how I love it. Let's see. I reclaimed my marriage over the past 2 years. I know that's right. Suzanne, you better tell the truth, girl. You ran back and got your situation together. I like that. If that's what you mean, I'm loving it. And if there's somebody out there whose good thing could be fixed, you know, if you do it, let us know, because I want to have you on for the praise report. Because if you have a good thing that you gave away and you went back and you fixed it, oh, we got to work on that. I want to learn to observe the proper calendar. Hallelujah. We can do that. I'll let Ronnie know, and he can come on, and we can do that. I try to stick to the lakes and streams that are palatable for me to teach. But the deal is that yes, we could both teach it, but can't nobody touch Ronnie the way that he deep dives. I can teach the principles and the basics of it. I like to leave that to him because I believe that being that that's the type of teaching he is called to do, it leaves it for more in-depth lesson, because he's able to give you a lot more history and background But as it relates to the dates and the times, right now we know that we are in the 7th biblical month. And so, yes, I will make sure that I make a note and let Ronnie know so that he can, plan a time to either tell us which video we can look at again, or he can come in and share that. Mama Bear and Papa Bear, hello, Lockhart family. I'm sorry I'm late. My computer didn't want to come on, but I finally got it to work. Yippee! Woot! Good afternoon, Mama Bear, Papa Bear. I love when you go woot. Rachel Van Zyl says, Suzanne Fran, that's a blessed thing indeed. I'm 36, and trust me, we're not young at that age. Haha. Yeah, but you're wiser and you know what you want and you don't want. After 18 years of blue-pilled letting me run the family, he's now assuming headship. He converted from Buddhism and got baptized in the spring. Hallelujah and congratulations. You're on your way. The road is fixed for you. It's just wide open. Hey, thanks, Iron Crane. Okay, so there you guys loving on each other. All right, I see. All right, I think I may be getting caught up here in a second. I think. Wait a minute. Whoa, this is a lot. All righty. All right, I'm going to save all these, make sure that I see them all. God, this is odd. I love your message, but I watch, observe, and analyze the dating relationship and marriage world, and I cannot see it as a valid option for men in the current year. I think that's because, Iron Crane, right now, because of the way that everything is shaped, a lot of women have forced men into doing the dual role. Not saying that that's your situation, but what has happened is so many women claim independence that they have totally walked away from what it is that they could do for a man. Let me explain. When a woman says, I'm independent, I'm this, I'm that, what she does is she picks up male attributes. She doesn't cook. Not to say that there are not men who can, but follow me. She doesn't cook. She doesn't wash your clothes. She doesn't do anything that women traditionally do or used to do or did. So in other words, you're doing everything for yourself, so you're trying to figure out what you're going to need a woman for. And that's the sad part. That's the sad part. What I'm sharing is for women to get back in their rightful position so that they don't have to fall prey to what's about to hit us. A lot of people think that it's going to be over, just going to cart people off and it's going to be over anyway. No, sister, it's not. Your independence is going to be removed from you. In a minute, there's not going to be the positions that you're holding. The job that you thought was secure is not. The job that you thought was secure is not. So get your household together. Start to get that laundry closet right. Start to reorganize those closets in the house so you can get, in and out of things and put stuff up to where it goes. Get your home right. Start to get back in your rightful order. Because believe it or not, everybody's job in a minute, some sooner than others, will be in a semi-automated or automated state. Your gig, yeah, even my gig as a human resources director it's easily automated. Easily automated. Easily. The only part that you get with me that you would not get from, a platform that understands the numbers and the facts and the figures and all of that stuff is the human piece and experience. That's it. And as you can tell, human and experience are not necessarily a job qualification when you can have an AI or you can have a software that does exactly what I do. So my point is, get it together, sister. Because in a second, you think ain't no good men now, the sisters that can get down and handle that household gonna have all y'all beaten. You're gonna be sitting around looking at each other. That part. Because just like Iron Crane 2003 just said, he can't see what it would benefit him for, and that's where it's coming from. There's a lot of women that just feel like, yeah, I don't need it. I just want to be independent. And so he's like, well, cool, be independent. A guy will take it. He'll take what he can get and keep pushing. And you know what I mean by that. He will take what he can get, and then he'll just keep pushing. If you're going to give it, he's going to take it. He's a man. All right? Hey, I'm not putting nobody away for what I'm saying. If that's what you're doing it. All right? All right? Yeah, that's exactly right. 1 Peaches 41 says, question, How do I or any women instill the true ways of a virtuous wife while raising children, if I or a woman didn't learn the true ways until after the marriage is over and the kids should be retrained? Well, I'll tell you, I think that it's just a matter of really at that point, because your kids have seen whatever the experience is. And again, any other woman, because the question was posed to, how do we tell another woman, right? She's asking a very good question. That is a blanket question for us to answer for everybody out there who might be listening. I think that as it relates to your children, if you are no longer a wife, that you are to live as separated and as sanctified as you can in the presence of your children. Not hypocrisy in the presence of your children, but to live a life that is the life that Yah would want you to live. Okay? So you're not telling them something and living a different way. All right? You're understanding your positioning and you're sharpening who you're supposed to be. Now, if your spouse is still single and you are still single and you guys have divorced and you guys are both still single, that needs to be what you're trying to get together for. I'm going to say that again. If the marriage was a good marriage and the reason why the marriage broke up is because, the woman had some issues, she didn't understand how to be loved. Maybe the cat was just, he was not an emotional person. Maybe he wasn't a person who just, had to have arguments all the time and she just decided he was too nice. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times that happens. Oh, he's just too nice. Oh, I don't want to deal with him. He's just something about him. Well, something about him is he's not a jerk like you're used to. The something about him is that he's not a jerk like you're used to. You're used to an egotistical jerk. This cat's got a semblance of sense. He's got some sense. He's not going to act like that with you because he's a gentleman. Somebody raised him right. But because you drove him out your house, you drove him out of the house, constantly bickering, constantly complaining, chasing him from room to room when he's really just trying to seek cover. He's just trying to seek shelter from the storm that is you. And you thinking because he's walking out the room, you got him. I got him now. No, you actually about to leave him because as you can tell, you done walk from the back of the house following this cat all the way to the living room. The next door that he goes out is the front one. So the thing that we do is if we're still single and the marriage did not dissolve because of, something crazy or, like I said earlier, beating you up and all that other stuff, then your goal should be to get back with your spouse. That should be your goal, especially if a woman knows after starting to study and starting to pray and start to, intercede prayer for herself. Okay. After you see that the common denominator of your trouble is you, it's time to get it together and get humble. Get humble. Get your household together. Live a holy life, or separated life, I should say. Separated and set apart life in front of your children. And once you start to do that, they're going to see the difference. He's going to see the difference. But it's got to be sincere in that woman. That woman has to be sincere. Okay? Mama Bear and Papa Bear says to remember to hit that like button. Yes, please do, folks. Oh, Iron Crane 2003. And Monica Beach. He has a point. He has a point. Okay? I'm not sure you can, even if you had a method down. You have to compete with social media teachers and peer pressures telling girls that they should be strong and independent. Yeah, well, he's got a very big point there. Because social media is telling kids a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. But the way that I would recommend it is just like I said, just live a separated and good life in front of them. Get into the Word and live the life that the Word tells you to live. And once you get in the Word and you live the life the Word tells you to live, automatically, if you're in the Word, you'll exegete the part for your children. And then you live a holy life. And they live a separated and holy life in front of you with them. It's not going to be any harm or foul. They're going to get that. But you do have to monitor the stuff that they're watching. You do have to monitor the stuff that they're listening to. And I think that's where Iron Crane's point is really the strongest, because right now, social media has become the new television of it all. Remember when TV was around in younger years, The TV was teaching the kids. Now social media is teaching the kids. And social media is a whole lot worse than TV of old, because you got a lot of stuff on there that these kids should not even know. They shouldn't even know about it. And you can tell that the world is backwards because they'll censor some good information before they censor that. That will have 5 and 2.5 and 10 million hits on it. And something wholesome, you only get, 50 views. So you know that it's flip-flop. You know that it's messed up. But that's the only way. And then you also have to take your children and yourself for that woman out there who's listening, who has, separated, and now she's building her home and her life back up. You may have to take the family to, be around, I would say, biblical leaders, people who are really, really true in the word, and maybe do a counseling session. So that way the family can all talk about the problems and points that they all need to, that they'd like to see resolved in the household. Because generally, a lot of times, the children observe so much that the mother doesn't have any clue that they observed her and they saw what she was doing. And so you're looking at them wondering, why are they acting this way? Well, they're acting this way because oftentimes we have behaved poorly in their presence after a divorce or after the separation from our spouse and the in our present situation. Does that make sense? I hope so. But yes, to Iron Crane's point, which is very on point, social media is a big deal. But you can, if you run your house, maybe take some time before you get internet. I don't know. Maybe not give them a phone at 8. Maybe not give them a phone at a young age so that you can wrangle it. But there does have to have that question. Hey, Jacqueline Contreras, how are you? I'm glad you are here. It's good to see you. I think I'm so behind on all these messages. I think I better go down to the bottom and start from here. Oh, wow. I am way behind. Okay. Oh, no, I'm in trouble then, because I do talk a lot about Papa Bear. Loves me anyway, when we have been married for nearly 32 years. You know what? I'm going to tell you something, Mama Bear, Papa Bear. You already got this together. You know what you're doing. Hey, Charlie, how are you? It's so good to see you. I'm starting from the bottom and going up because I was way, way off. Men don't understand what women are talking about, but they understand good works. That's right. We sometimes we can talk a guy's ear off. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes they're not even listening. They're just being cordial. That's the reason why when you say you didn't hear me, I just told you that yesterday. Oh, I don't know. I was busy. He wasn't listening. He was being kind, because we can go. We can go and go and go. And that's the reason why he didn't hear you. So you're absolutely right. Okay, let's see. It says, okay, let's see. Let me go up a little further. Right here. Felicia, I'd be happy to come on and explain the metal bird perspective of 2003 in the future. Yes, please do. Yes, email me and let me know when you want to come on. You're welcome to. I see Amy, plastic round sukkah. I bet it was nice. Good idea, Jacqueline Contreras. Amen. Some heavy judgment coming no matter what. Keep your eyes on the beautiful city. Do not become a pillar of salt. That's right. Don't look back. Yes, I want you to do that, Iron Crane. Mama Beat, I'm great. How are you? I'm wonderful. Okay. I think we're pretty good on the on all the okay chat. Let's remember whose platform we're enjoying. Show respect. Okay, so let's see. So Jack, okay, so California, Shemin says the day of God who chose for us, hooray. Appropriate rain. Come on, California, you can do it. You just have to do better tomorrow than you did it yesterday. That's right, girl. Absolutely, Sarah. Amy, I need to get my eyes checked. I'm having a hard time seeing these comments. Let's see. Anthony Van Sant, gotta chase Lucy and do laundry. Aw, man, gets one house in order. He's a workout as a dope. Lucy, oh yeah, the signal all day, every day. Yeah, absolutely. I just love the way that you are. You are hilarious, Anthony Van Sant. Let's see. Let's see. Women be heard. Okay, virtuous women doing good things. Yes, that's right. That's right. You guys are having some good conversations here, and I appreciate that. So, okay, you guys, I think it's about time for me to go ahead and say adios to everyone. Let's see. Gotta see you, dear Felicia. Yeah, great to see you. Great to see you. So we're going to go on ahead, and I'm going to hold on, you guys. Somebody just came in my house with a literal suitcase. So I'm going to see what's in there. Maybe some good stuff for me. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys that I appreciate you guys for this. I appreciate you for allowing me to share these things with you, because these are the things that we really do need. I want to again thank you so very much for coming in today, for sharing with me all of your comments, your great thoughts, your great perspectives, and where you guys can, go out and branch out and help somebody else that may need the same thing you have. And that's a good thing. Thank you, One Peaches 41, for that love offering. I appreciate you. And you guys, remember what we always say here on this channel, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High Yah. You guys take care of yourselves and take care of one another until we see each other again. Take care. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Helping you along the way, helping you to make it through another day. Yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you